Hello friends, this is Abby from Abby's Bookish Life, and today I am going to be setting up my July bullet journal. I chose the theme Princess and the Frog, but it's turned into more of a lily pad theme with mild Princess and the Frog touches. I had originally had a New Orleans trip planned this month with Brent, but sadly we were not going to be able to go on that. So I thought that doing a New Orleans lily pad theme would keep me uplifted and positive because the colors are light green and light pink, and it just lifts me up. I'm using the HP Sprocket photo printer to print out some sticky pictures that are the perfect size for my bullet journal. And I use these pictures to inspire me as I go through my bullet journal spreads. And I just use my gold marker to add in a couple elements around it. Next is my cover page for July, where I did a little heavier doodling than I normally do, but I chose to use a image of a pond from above, and so it has the lily pads, the flowers, and I even add in a couple lightning bugs here and there. I got a lot of inspiration from other YouTubers and from Pinterest as I was putting together my bullet journal spreads, so you will see me tracing over some of the pencil markings that I already did. I do this for every bullet journal spread that I do. I just like to have a little bit of an outline to prepare myself. What I'm doing now is adding in some ripple effects around the lily pads and the flowers to make it look like they really are floating on the water. I'm using the Tombow dual brush pen in color 243 for my main color this month. And you'll see me now filling in all of the lily pads with this color, and I decided I wanted a little more dimension. So I do go back over them with Crayola Super Tips in multiple colors of green. A Crayola Super Tip to add some slash marks through the open spaces on my cover page so that I can have a little extra touch. Next up is my calendar spread. This is pretty much what I do every month. It is made up of 6x6 boxes where I outline the month and leave spaces for where there are no days, so you can see that I start the boxes on Wednesday and it ends with a little cutout on Saturday because the month ends on a Friday this month. I always put a little goals or tasks section over on the right side, and at the bottom I have my intention of the month. I haven't chosen what my intention will be yet, so I don't write anything in for this video, but when I do decide, that's where I put it. And I drew some of those ripple effects around the boxes for goals and intentions to, again, make it look like it's floating on the water. although the doodles seem like they take a lot of time, they were actually really simple to do. So if you want to do something like this, it is very easy to do yourself. I mostly just drew circles in places where I knew I wanted a lily pad, and I chose the direction of the little cutout based on what I thought looked best. I used my 5 different colors of green to differentiate between the different days of the week. So I just did it in a pattern so that I could have a little bit of a different color for each day. As you can see, there's a lot of trial and error when I make my bullet journal spreads, where I'll try something and decide that I don't like the way it looks and I will just color over top of it. I think that it's best when you go into making your bullet journal to be open to making mistakes, because I make a ton of them and I have to fix them all the time, but it just makes it that much more fun. I started this month by going over all of the colors with white, but it didn't end up showing up the way I wanted it to, so I ended up going back over all of them with my micron pen so that I could see it a little more clearly. Next up is my brain dump spread. As usual, this is where I write all of my thoughts for the month, and I like to have a big empty space to do this. So I don't normally add a ton of decoration onto this page. I drew a couple of lightning bugs up at the top, a couple of lily pads down here at the bottom corner, and then at the bottom left I drew Prince Naveen from Princess and the Frog, where he is in frog form. Next up is my mood tracker. For this spread, I decided to make a lily pad for each day of the month, and I numbered them, as you can see. And as I go through the month, I will have my 5 different colors or 6 different colors of green. Depending on my mood, I will fill the lily pad in with whatever color matches the mood I'm feeling that day. I tried last month to not use a mood tracker like this or a gratitude tracker, but I decided I didn't like that setup and I wanted to go back to the way I was doing it before, so that's why I'm back to a traditional mood tracker. You can see at the bottom, I'm putting out my 6 colors of green that will be used to differentiate the different moods. going over them with happy faces or sad faces to differentiate the different moods that I might be feeling. Next up is my habit tracker. This is pretty much what I do every month. I make the outlines of the months, and I will fill in my habits at a later time when I've got a better idea of what habits I want to track this month. I am adding these little ripples around them, almost like they are floating in the pond as well. On the bottom corners, I'm drawing a couple of boxes, well, quarter boxes, where I will be drawing some greenery in there and some different things that you might see in the bayou in New Orleans. I was really inspired by some of the pictures that I was looking at to explore how to draw New Orleans bayou, and I just really wanted to include this in here even though the theme is no longer New Orleans based. It just was very inspiring to me, and I love the greenery aspect it adds. Up is my 2 lines a day spread. This spread is really nice for me personally because it gives me a little bit more room than a typical 1 line a day to talk about what I did that day or what I want to remember from that day. It's a way to add journaling into my life without making it overwhelming. And you can see that I'm tying in Princess and the Frog a little bit in this spread by having Evangeline up in that corner and Ray down at the bottom staring lovingly up at her. up, I will be doing my gratitude tracker. This is a wonderful spread for me to write down one thing every day that I'm grateful for, and I'm doing the heading or the lettering by creating boxes for each, or lily pads for each letter in the word gratitude. And I've never tried this before, but I actually really liked it, and I plan to include some different lettering styles and different headings into my future bullet journal spreads as well. I'm leaving it blank for now because in order to write with the white gel pen over top of this color, you have to make sure that it's fully dried first. And so I wanted to give it plenty of time to dry before trying to write on top of it. As you can see, I tried to write on top of it just there, and it wasn't dark enough or dry enough still, so I left it to dry a little bit longer. And this page will be my expense tracker. I am working hard to stay on a personal budget for my personal spending money every week, and so I'm adding in an expense tracker to try to keep myself accountable for how often I use my card. It's easier when you're using cash, but with everything closed, I'm using mostly online shopping now, and I need something physical to help me track what I'm spending and how much. So I'm drawing these lily pads, and each of these lily pads will represent a different week, and I will be able to use the areas beside that lily pad to track the description of what I bought and how much I spent. The white gel pen was still not writing very clearly over top of this after I'd given it plenty of time to dry. So I went over it with a black brush pen, and I highlighted it with the white gel pen so that I could see it more clearly. Finally, I am setting up my first week of July, and I am starting on a Wednesday because that's when July 1st begins, and I just have the first 5 days since that completes the first week of July. I'm doing my typical setup where I have a 12 by 14 box and have 4 lines where I can write events that are happening, and in the bottom section I write my tasks for the day. I'm using this little washi tape set that I got off of Amazon because it has some perfect washi tapes for this spread. It has some washi tape that has a little bit of light green and a little bit of light pink, and I just thought it fit so perfectly. And finally, finally, since I had this extra page, I decided to do a quote from the movie Princess and the Frog, where it says, "There's magic in the air tonight and anything can happen." Up at the top, I'm drawing Evangeline and Ray from the end of the movie. And finally, I'm adding some of this washi tape to kind of bring the spread together and keep it part of the theme. So I have a washi tape at the bottom that has some gold and some pink dots, and then I'm using the two washi tapes from the other side of the spread as well. And that is my July setup. Please enjoy this flip through. This was such a fun bullet journal setup to do for me, and it just made me feel happy and positive, and I'm excited to keep it going through the month of July. I tried many new things this month and went back to some old things that I like better, and I'm just so proud of the way it turned out. And I hope you guys have a great time setting up your own bullet journals this month as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.